Breathing and exchange of gases. Respiration and human respiratory system. Respiration is a chemical process which involves exchange of environmental oxygen and body's carbon dioxide through a liquid medium to utilize oxygen for the oxidation of glucose and to produce chemical energy in the form of ATP. The respiratory system of man comprises of nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, lungs, and alveoli. Observe the parts of the human respiratory system in the diagrammatic representation. Inspiration and expiration. Breathing is the first step in respiration, which involves taking in of air into the body and expelling air rich in carbon dioxide out of the body into the external environment. It involves two stages: inspiration, during which atmospheric air is drawn in, and expiration, by which the alveolar air is released out. During inspiration, the diaphragm contracts, pulling the lower surface of the lungs downward. This causes an increase in the volume of the lungs and decrease in the pressure of air inside it. This leads to inhalation of air as shown in the diagram. During expiration, the diaphragm relaxes, resulting in the compression of the lungs. This causes a decrease in the volume of the lungs and increase in the pressure of air present in it. This leads to exhalation of air as shown in the diagram. Gaseous exchange at the alveoli. Gaseous exchange initially takes place between the alveoli of lungs and blood capillaries, and finally between blood capillaries and body tissues by a process called diffusion. The process of diffusion is directly proportional to the partial pressure exerted by individual respiratory gases such as oxygen and carbon dioxide. Gaseous exchange in the lungs occurs due to a difference in partial pressure, which leads to diffusion of oxygen from alveoli to blood capillaries and carbon dioxide from blood capillaries to the alveoli. Exchange of gases between blood capillaries and body tissues also occur by the same mechanism. The entire sequence of gaseous exchange in the alveolus and body tissue is diagrammatically represented here. Oxygen transport. Respiratory gases are transported between the lungs and the body tissues through the blood. During oxygen transport, the respiratory pigment, hemoglobin, binds with a molecule of oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin, which is represented in the equation. Oxygen is transported in this state to other tissues of the body. In the tissues, oxyhemoglobin quickly dissociates into oxygen and hemoglobin. The formation of oxyhemoglobin and its dissociation is in turn dependent on the partial pressure of oxygen. About 97% of oxygen transportation occurs in this method, while 3% of oxygen is found dissolved in the plasma. Carbon dioxide transport. Due to its higher solubility, carbon dioxide is carried by blood in more than one form. In the first method of carbon dioxide transport, about 7% of carbon dioxide is dissolved in plasma and thus transported. About 23% of carbon dioxide is found associated with hemoglobin to form carbaminohemoglobin and thus transported. In the third method of carbon dioxide transport, nearly 70% of it is transported by the plasma in the form of bicarbonate ions. In this graphical representation, carbon dioxide is transported by the plasma in the form of bicarbonate ions.